All right, so I'm gonna do another vlog this morning. It's now 4 o'clock, and what's the day? Let's see. I think today is a Tuesday. It's the 22nd of January, 2019. All right, so yeah, I mean, as I was doing my other vlog earlier this morning, was the Kenny Cap'n Crunch experiment, really on sugar content of Cap'n Crunch cereal in one serving. Well, as I finished that up, I got into some other factors, as I usually do. I'm trying to get all that information out to y'all as fast as possible, as quickly as possible, and realizing, just connect you with all the information that already is out there, because there is just no reason to remake the wheel. Instead, industrial revolutionize it, rot it, and then have machines do it, just like we're already doing. So, which I want to do a little bit in Jamaica. I have some property there, just so y'all know. It's a little estate called Lynvale Estate. And with some assistance, and I probably need, a little bit of business assistance, a little bit of economic assistance, and then some real industrial revolutionizers, just not laughing, which is not something that I'm going to do lightly. So it's not like, wow, just anybody who sounds smart. It really would be some people who really do know. I know there are a lot of Americans, even especially in New England, who do know this stuff and understand this stuff. There's some academic people. I've definitely come across some of those people. So yeah, those are the kind of people who I would really want to work with on industrial revolution of kind of Brownstown and Lynvale Estate in Jamaica. It's another project that I'm working on. But so if you know anybody, definitely share this video, share this as much as you can, share it with anybody who really will understand that little bit that I just shared, which will be on YouTube soon. But I'm looking for those people, and now starting to look for them more aggressively, because I know it will make a difference, and the earlier and sooner I find them, the better it will be, and the more time I'll have to work on really sustaining my farm in Jamaica if I really get the chance to do that. Right now, my family, the Barretts are in the process, just really my grandmother and her son are in the process of kind of building houses, and some of it. It's not been a fast process, but I'm hoping to kind of curtail some of that and kind of, maintain more of it as farmland and kind of industrialize maybe that town more properly than just putting up concrete houses. That ends up being kind of a waste of resources, house after house, killing the grass and not really providing enough sustainable measures to maintain a community. So this is something I'll probably write on and focus on, because this is like, it's like carpe diem, or of the time too. This is really important. And the sooner I get this going, the more likely I am to achieve, every success and accomplishment possible. So anyway, so that was a tangent, but that was also very important. So contact me, please do contact me. I mean, that is a high priority of mine. And if there's anybody who can connect me with people who can assist with that, I'm in the initial networking and planning stages, then, that is what will be priority for me, really from this point on for a while. All right, so anyway, back to why I started this next vlog for this day. So I just want to, deal with one specific point, which is really that, yeah, one of my accounts was banned from ResearchGate, unfortunately. It was really the main account that I was using for Jamway Conglomerate and for me and for the research I was doing as I was documenting the process that I was going through to a more academic life and, contributing to the academic literature and possibly even, at someday, possibly have becoming a surgeon, a general surgeon. But, I did include the word nigger in my writings. I remember in one project I just labeled it The Mind of a Nigger. And, I thought, the academic community would be more open to understanding why, really all types. And I think they are. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they're not. But I do realize that they still have some traditional and conservative, I guess, values or conservative thinking that does exclude people inadvertently and subconsciously. And for instance, being excluded because one of my projects is titled The Mind of a Nigger, that just doesn't make sense. Sure, nigger is a polarizing word. Yes, nigger can be controversial. Yes, nigger can have negative connotations. But nigger is real. Nigger is a real word. Nigger has been well described. Nigger does describe black people if not all of them, definitely most of them. Doesn't mean that they're stupid. I'm not making that claim. Doesn't mean that they can't be intelligent. I'm not making that claim either. But what I am saying is that, yes, I think it's very valuable to know what a nigger was, what it is, and how it was used as a word, as a concept, even as a human form. And for that reason, nigger is quite valuable to me. And if you understand the context of where I'm coming from, I'm Jamaican. I mean, if you look at the community that I lived in Jamaica, it's black people. I mean, Jamaica is comprised of 90% or 95% black-skinned Congoid people who identify as maroons. So it's going to be important for the people that will want to know me. There is just no doubt about it. So I might as well just let them know I am a nigger in the United States of America, no matter what they think. In Jamaica, I might not be a nigger, but quite honestly, when I'm in the United States of America, I am a nigger. Sure, there are people who look past it, but quite honestly, even the niggers know I'm a nigger in the United States of America. So it's really important that I embrace that, know it, and identify it. And for me, that means doing it openly, outwardly, and making it clear that I know what I am and what I am perceived to be. ResearchGate did not take that into consideration when they read the word nigger in a little bit of the literature that I have contributed to and banned me. So I was able to contact them and get unbanned. And so I decided, well, I'm not really trying to make the same mistake twice. And I wasn't clear, is it because it was the word nigger, or was it because my project had the word nigger in the title? They didn't really specify. So I went ahead and brought in the title to what I was really trying to understand in a more broad perspective. I mean, it's not really what I was really trying to understand. It was just another objective that I was getting to that I wanted to understand too. So I made it about race, races of humans, and evolution and genetics. And they didn't have a problem with that, it would seem, and there was a lot of researchers who kind of do delve into that. But then I listed my books, and there's no doubt about it. My first 3 novels are titled The Mind of a Nigger. It's The Mind of a Nigger Part 1, The Mind of a Nigger Part 2, and The Mind of a Nigger Part 3. And that is not changing. Those will and will always be my first 3 published novels. Novels published by Jamway Publishing Company, which is my publishing company. So, for the most part, self-published. But quite honestly, and that stayed for a while, and then I think one person wanted to read some of it and asked for a copy, and I sent one, and maybe you didn't like what was in there. Maybe you thought it was too aggressive. I don't know what the fuck he was thinking. Quite honestly, I don't know. It was a man. I mean, maybe it was him. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. Who gives a shit? But the point is, raw to get with it, man. There's a lot more than just being a fucking European. I'm not mad at the Europeans. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't like them. But my point is, there is more to it, and for someone like me who's multiracial, yeah, I have European blood. Yes, I have Chinese blood. Yes, I have black blood. But the truth is, ultimately, there are some differences, and quite honestly, that stuff is important to me. So if you can't understand it, it doesn't mean you should ban me. Either you try to figure it out, or just move on. I mean, that is really what should happen. Just move on. There's a lot of shit that Caucasians, Europeaners, it's really those communities that I'm battling with on this point right now. I'm not angry at all of them, but I'm just making it clear. I do know that ends up being the dominant community for this, and I would say even the Irish. They put out a lot of things, and if I'm around it in their environment, I have to deal with it, and I deal with it. I don't, fuss about it. I don't complain. I know that's them, and I accept it. If I feel threatened, I leave. If I feel comfortable, I stay. If I'm enjoying it, I'll stay even longer. If they want me out and they tell me leave, I'm out. Not talking. I mean, I'm out like a mouse. I mean, out immediately, like a rabbit, whatever the hell. I just leave. I don't need to stick around to figure out if this guy's going to kill me, beat me up, or berate me, or make fun of me or something. If they want me around, I'll be there. I mean, I don't mind being around, but I'm just letting y'all know. So, I mean, I'm not saying that ResearchGate is an Irish company or anything like that. I know, I'm pretty sure it's, based in Germany. I know it's based in San Francisco. I really don't know who's behind all this decision-making at ResearchGate. But my point is, I know I'm going to be a valuable contributor to the academic literature, no matter what ResearchGate does. Yes, I definitely want to be a part of ResearchGate. Yes, I would like to, have my work on there, because yes, I know ResearchGate has value. People can network with me through ResearchGate. I can find scientists. Scientists can find me. I mean, if they're just against, the word nigger or nigger rising or nigger something, then yeah, I mean, it's kind of their problem. If they're, have some explicit policy that, is against the word nigger, which I haven't read, then I guess that's their choice. I don't really agree with that approach. And I don't really know why, because in this day and age where we've already had Adolf Hitler and pretty much everybody in the world has already made the choice to not do genocide, and everybody who does genocide is looked at as strange and stupid and, obviously shot and killed oftentimes. I don't think it's going to really lead to a lot of genocide. Could it? It's possible, but really unlikely. So really, I'm just not sure what the big deal is. And quite honestly, from my perspective, the communities that I'm trying to connect with, which are a lot of the poorer communities, outwardly use the word nigger. And it's not always in a negative connotation. When I was moved to Orlando with my parents, I got exposed to this guy, Eric Dunstan. Hopefully I'll take onus for this. I just don't know. I haven't asked him, but I will find out. Eric, without a doubt, was the first person to expose me to the word nigger. And Eric's not a white man. Eric's not a Caucasian. He wasn't telling me, you stupid nigger. He wasn't telling me, be my slave and shit like that. He was just saying, what's up, nigga? What's up, nigger? All this kind of crap. And quite honestly, I was like, holy shit, man. I didn't really know what it meant. It didn't really affect me one way or another, but it was interesting. Yeah, it was a little strange. It was different. Don't get me wrong. I didn't expect it, but I just didn't know really what was behind it or anything, but it was different. But anyway, I accepted it, got to know him, and realized, holy shit, yeah, he definitely taught me certain things or exposed me to certain things that were within more of what we consider or call really the black community, which, is comprised of a select few who identify with being niggers and are fine with it. He's definitely one who kind of exposed me more to like gangster rap, hip hop, and even, like Tupac. Like he really used to like Tupac. I learned a bit about that through him and some other musicians, but he was really into that stuff. I started getting into that stuff. I mean, for me, I wasn't really, exposed to any of that through my family because we just aren't American. We're not Black American or African American or, quasi-American or whatever, anybody thinks of blacks in America. But I was definitely, we're definitely multiracial, non-white Jamaicans, Caribbean people. So I was exposed to Caribbean music, West Indian music, soca, dancehall, reggae, Robert Nesta Marley, Beanie Man when he came out, Sean Paul, obviously these are things that I, Buju Banton. There's a lot of artists, who really write very positively for the black community, as I do and always will, because that's just how I am. It's in me. It's genetic even. I'm not joking. Anyway, so the point is, it's like I'm happy inside all of the time. So anyway, my point is that, yeah, I definitely want to be a part of ResearchGate. I definitely want my contributions to be there. I definitely want to make it as easy as possible to network and contribute and connect with people. But quite honestly, I'm not willing to conform on things that I know will make the difference because of other races' short-sightedness, as well as intra-racial short-sightedness, myopia, such as, specifically, blacks who are against using the word nigger and whites who are against using the word nigger, and Spanish and Latinos and Latins and Irish and Germans and whoever else, just because it's taboo by, people who are uppity or people who are of high class or people who are trying to ascribe themselves to be a certain way. My approach isn't that way anymore. I used to think, yeah, there's some value to that, but I kind of put that down the toilet already. And the reason why I did that is because that loses knowledge. And I do think Harvard takes that approach. I will give Harvard a lot of credit for that. I'm just not joking. Harvard really seems to value every type of knowledge, especially when it's truthful. And as a result, I have definitely taken a course that is even more direct on that as a Jamaican. A Jamaican, Canadian, new American on some level. So, after careful reflection over and over again and isolation and formulation of my ideas into a more verbal and written method of communication, I realized I had to start with the word nigger. There is no doubt about that. In the United States of America, no matter how light-skinned I am, And even to some extent, if I have kids who have hair that goes down with gravity, no matter how straight their hair gets, they're still going to be niggers. And, accepting that realization was a big moment for me. It was a big start. It was really important and is catapulting me to all the levels of ascendancy that I can rise to. It's something that has very clear value. To give you a little bit of an analogy, if I was a white Caucasian, there's no doubt in hell that I would not deny whiteness. I still don't deny whiteness, and I'm not the whitest one, but I have some white genes. So, it's kind of like that with nigger. Knowing that I'm without a doubt a nigger and that my roots are from the Ibu in that regard means, there's no reason for me to deny that either. Denying it's not going to make me a Caucasian. And accepting it, is not going to make me Satan. So, yeah, I'm kind of hoping that ResearchGate will unban that account, because I put a lot of time into that account, really worked it up, really, put a lot of time into my profile, make sure all the information was there, and started making connections, and found even, there's one specific guy, I don't know his exact name, a Caucasian European guy who was really connecting with me, and, ResearchGate is kind of causing problems for me in that way. It's not the biggest problem. I don't look at it as the biggest loss. It is a loss, but, yes, maybe y'all could blame me for saying, yeah, I should know not to put the word nigger on anything kind of thing, but I know that's stupid, regardless of what you think and regardless of what your objectives or rationale or intents are. That is stupid. If you can't use the word nigger without lynching somebody, then you have a problem. If you can't use the word nigger without picking up a gun to kill somebody, then that is a problem. If you're intelligent, then you should be able to accept all words, know what they mean, and use them. That is the truth. And quite honestly, to me, that is unintelligent. So I'll definitely forward this to ResearchGate. But that is a clear mark of unintelligence and, probably more appropriately, lack of cultural competence. Harvard has excellent classes on cultural competence. So if you really need to go and understand what cultural competence is, and in this case, more specifically, racial competence, then maybe sign up for a course at Harvard. If you need the information, just send a link or send an email to me or put a comment in the bottom. Anyway, so that's my, diatribe. I don't know if it's really a diatribe. I'm pretty much just making my points, I don't like to use overly conflated or even overly specific words for some of this stuff when it's just not clear to me if it's that or something else. And in that way, I just prefer some of the little baby language to make sure that I'm not using terms that are incorrect or have connotations that aren't correct. When it comes to the word nigger, I did a lot of research, a lot of reading, and a lot of understanding to understand what it is, how it is, who described it, how it came about, and therefore I know I did not use that incorrectly at all. Yeah, I'm going to forward this to ResearchGate. I hope this helps, and I'll see if they can start understanding. I do know ResearchGate is a whiter community than the general population. So I do know that is one factor. I just don't know if that's a major factor or a minor factor in this case. And it's usually some oversights. Like, these people usually aren't stupid, but quite honestly, on this one, they're kind of getting it wrong. And, there is another guy who I connected with who has been helpful, Vincent van Genecken. He's over in the Netherlands. Yes, he doesn't know how I became a doctor when there's all these things that I still don't know or are not incorporating or thinking in that way. But I will say this, I'm pretty sure Harvard knows. I don't know all the reasons, but I do know if Harvard wants to explain why they let me in and what they saw and why I'm of value to them, I would love to know. I can only purport some things, but I do know Harvard has value in me, and I just don't know all the reasons, but I do know what I'm doing, and I do know where I'm going. And I don't think, a company in Germany at this point might understand yet, if that is Germany where they were founded. And as a result, they'll make these quip decisions based on a word rather than the substance. And so, yeah, I'm not, this is not new to me. I've been around people like this. Even my mother falls into this category oftentimes. I'll say that. My mother falls into this category often, whereas my sister and father just don't as much. And maybe it's relative to my mother, but, you know, as a result, I have had great practice on this, and I carefully calculate and create and pick how to go about these things to get the superior and maximal outcome always. So it's just a loss, really, more so to ResearchGate at this time. You know, so I guess what they could have done is invited me for tea right at the Boston Public Library, and we could have sat and I could have told them why my novel started off as The Mind of a Nigger. All right. Well, y'all take care. Maybe Cornell West will get a chance to look at this too. I know he has a book, or had a book called Race Matters, and I just read the title on that. One day I went back to kind of flip through a little bit of it, I think at the Boston Public Library, but you know, that made a big difference where somebody outwardly who was academic just typed it out in clear form, or just concreted some of the things that I was thinking and realized, yes, I know the dissenting sides, but yes, I know it still matters. And so I incorporated that in my work already. I have a paper, if you want them, you know, one of the most academic papers that I really wrote and co-authored with Jeffrey Neal Katz, and then eventually with Benedict Nachakwu. And then we also had Elena Losina and Lori Chibnik. Then you can go look at the one on surgical outcomes after orthopedic procedures, which a variant of my original papers became published. This one was in the Journal of Bone and Joint Surgery. And yeah, but I took a lot of time to read. I read a lot about race in that and realized it was a lot more complicated than just black and white, although black and white are the clear defining races. And, you know, learned about, you know, multiple forms of racism and how it's inherent, innate, and institutional, conscious, subconscious, unconscious, and genetic. And that's great. Never will be overcome until humans all cease to exist, which I'm not trying to hasten that. But that's, you know, it's a fragment of the human mind. But having said that, that won't even get rid of it, because all animals, you know, perceive race. There are, you know, a few exceptions, but those ones don't have a visual system. Bacteria, for instance, not as much do they perceive race, but I'm pretty sure they probably could still perceive color on some level too. I'm just not 100% sure, and that's such a difficult thing to try to figure out and test, knowing our biases already, that, you know, I'm not really focused on that. But anyway, there it is. You know, I've written about this in my novels. If y'all want to go read my novels and really catch up to speed on where I'm at, what I'm thinking, and contribute, go right ahead. It's all in there for you, all. But, you know, you can also contact me, and if you already have well-developed ideas and want to kind of participate, just let me know, and we can start collaborating in some way. I am kind of busy finishing up things throughout the remainder of this year, but I know I'll definitely be having more time eventually. So, all right. There it is. And I might as well give another shout out. One is to this guy, Massa Man on YouTube, kind of connecting him with the Harvard community if I can. So I included him on a recent email. I do know people might think of this as awkward, whatnot, but to be quite honest, I think what it really is that people who are connected with me or become connected with me through my assertions and whatnot just don't realize the opportunities that I'm trying to yield for everybody in the communities that I'm in immediately. And my approach is very direct, and I have the network to make it happen, so I go right ahead and do it anyway, no matter how weird, awkward, or strange it might seem, because the people I connect with have value always. And so pretty much don't be shy. It will help you.